Welcome everyone, I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. I hope you find you all well. On this week's Open Lines, we've got Chris from Idiot on Board. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good mate. You, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, pal. Thanks for coming on, by the way.
It's all right, no problem.
So, I've got Chris on to talk about his biking journey, his YouTube journey, and also we're going to discuss going forward what our plans are, because we've got some exciting plans. Chris reached out to me via YouTube, and turns out we've got a lot in common. So, yeah, we got discussing things, and we've got something to announce at the end of this video. So please stay tuned. So, Chris, just tell me a little bit about yourself, mate, and your biking journey.
Yeah, so where do you start really? I mean, I'm 36 this year, and my biking journey started when I was about 18 months old. So my old man, my dad, bless him, he bought me a PW50 all them years ago. You know, little Yamaha
Yeah,
off-road bike. I mean, God, you can't get them for love and money now, and they're so expensive nowadays. But that's where my biking journey started. He put stabilizers on it for me and put a pin in the throttle so that I couldn't, rev off with it. Um, and then it's just kind of grown from there. I've gone through all sorts of bikes over the years. You know, my first scoot was an Aprilia Rally 50, which was an old 50cc scoot with like big chunky tires on it and whatnot. Then I moved on to a Suzuki GSE, so the Suzuki GS Eliminator thing, the 500, if you ever heard of that one.
yeah.
Yeah. Then I went from that when somebody ran it over. Then just moved on and upwards. I've had 660R, 660 Tenere, VFR 800s, several Harley Davidson Street 750s. Um, it's just gone on and upwards.
So, obviously, you've mentioned all them bikes there, but your recent videos I've watched are more predominantly small bikes. You've
Yes.
seen that, build that. I watched you do. It was good to see that bike come alive from what it was and not working, and your
Yeah, yeah,
journey to the Dragon Rally. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just really good. Tell me a little
Nah,
bit about that, seeing that in the build and the Dragon Rally trip and the uncertainty about taking a bike that literally maybe a couple of days before was not even put together.
well, yeah. I mean, if you've seen my video, haven't you? So you know the state of it. But the C90 is obviously an iconic motor, isn't it? It's probably one of the biggest. I mean, I don't know, don't take this as fact, but it's probably one of the biggest grossing selling bikes in the world. Um, but I've always wanted one. It's always been something that I've seen as a kid, and I've always thought I'll own one of those one day. And then I had an opportunity to get one, and my little C90 was actually previously owned by a chap called Ed March, who some of you may know from C90 Adventures on YouTube. Um, so it was one of his little fleet bikes that he had, and he was selling a load of them off. I was like, I've got to get me one of those. Um, so yeah, so I did, but it had been stood for 5 years in a shed in Devon by the sea. So should we say it's got a bit of character to it, shall we?
Yeah.
um,
Is that a
but
bit of
yeah,
an
I mean,
understatement?
well, plus it's MOT, so who knows? But no, it did need some work, like seen. So yeah, I've had it for nearly a year now, um, and it's been off the road, not been able to get it running or anything like that. And in the end, I just thought, sod it, I'm just going to put a new engine in it. Um, but I literally gave myself like 3 days prior to the Dragon Rally to do it. So I had to fit the new engine, get it all up and running properly, get it tuned in, get it MOT, and then get to the Dragon. So it was like just just this stupid thing where I decided to travel over 300 miles to the Dragon Rally with a completely unproven bike, something I'd never rode before, brand new engine, not running. It was just like, why?
Yeah, but
Because you can.
why small bikes? What is, because I've done my first group ride, as you've probably seen, and it
Yes,
was
let's
on
do
the
that. Yeah,
small bikes, big adventures. Even though I was on my 650,
yeah,
GS, I
yeah.
was welcomed, and it was like, I what right. You tell me why you do it. Why you like the small bikes?
So I've always been on the big bikes. And then when I got this C90 and I met people like we just said there, the Small Bike Big Adventures crew, the various Facebook groups that there are for the under 250s and small bikes and that. And it's just opened up this enormous world that I never knew existed. There's just something. So let's talk about the community first around small bikes. So obviously we know that the biking community is absolutely huge, isn't it? It's a worldwide endeavor. Um, it, you'll always meet a friend on a bike, won't you? That you're never alone, are you? Um, but when it came down to small bikes, it was just this little world of eccentric, daft people who are right up my street that I never knew existed,
Yeah,
and and they're just yeah, they're just everybody's just a little bit nuts in their own
that
way, if you know what I mean.
that's
There's just
exactly what I got from it. That's exactly
yeah,
what I got from it, and
yeah,
I make no secret about it. Like I'm a semi-introvert and all that, and like you
yeah,
said there, the eccentricness of these kind of guys that are riding these bikes and the
yeah,
adventures
yeah,
we go on to.
yeah,
It was out of my
yeah,
comfort zone, but it really appealed to me. And that day
yeah,
when I went out, I seen the camaraderie. It was like leave no man behind, the
yeah,
banter.
yeah,
It was more the challenge of having a small engine bike and doing these crazy things.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
off
So
roading. It was insane. And it was just like, it made me think more about getting a second small bike just to join in with these guys, you
yeah,
know, and start going on these adventures and stuff. So
yeah,
what we're going to do now, mate, I'm just going to bring your video up and just, we're going to play a little clip if that's all right.
yeah.
Was hitting 60. Oh, there he is. Brilliant. Small bikes, big adventures, eh?
So you can hear it in your voice as well, like the excitement. It's like you're not on a big engine bike here, like doing 40 mile an hour, but to you it's like 100 mile an hour, and you
It's,
just you can I can hear it, and it made me smile when I was watching it.
do you know what? Yeah. So that was my Dragon Rally actually. That was my trip to the Dragon Rally, and the person you saw shoot past there was Sam Davies, who's that Welshman on YouTube. Good mate of mine. I've known him for a long time now, um, and we've been threatening for years to get out on a ride together. We kept in touch, you know, via messengers and stuff like that. Been threatening for years to get on a ride, and we thought, sod it, I've got my C90 running now. Let's go to the Dragon together. And it's exactly that, exactly what you said. It's just you feel like you're going 1,000 miles an hour. You feel like you're going so fast, and then you look down and you're only doing like 40, and it's like it just makes you laugh. Um, there's just something about them. It just people in that group just don't take themselves seriously. Everybody's up for a laugh, the banter, like you said, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
But it's just something about the bikes as well. There's just something absolutely infatuating about
Do
riding
you see that? Do you see it more of a challenge to ride these small bikes, all these long distances?
So I do because I've never done it before. I've never had anything smaller than a what's the smallest size bike? My 411 Himalayan, for example. I've never had anything smaller than that. And to me, because it's new, it is a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge to try and cut down on what I'm, you know, kit that I'm packing. It's a challenge because the distances involved, they're the same distance, but the time's a lot longer, etc. So it's a bit harder to plan. So I say, yeah, it is a challenge. But then you see these people that do it all the time. I mean, there was a chap that travelled. So he went, so a guy called Creature Honey
I
on the
know the guy; he's a
C90.
good friend of
Do
mine.
you?
He
Yeah.
comes up
Oh,
the
there you
road
go
for
then.
me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, perfect. But I mean, I'll tell this like he went from the UK all the way to the Elephant Rally in Germany, did the rally in Germany, and then rode all the way back to come to the Dragon. So he did like 3,000 miles from Germany back to the Dragon on a
Honestly, like Creature is insane. This guy.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want to see what his house is like? It's literally full of bikes, small
I can
bikes, big
imagine.
bikes, old
Yeah,
vintage bikes. He's an actual legend. I know it's a
yeah,
strong word, but he's a legend in the small bikes big adventure scene. What he doesn't know about small bikes,
yeah,
especially C9, isn't worth knowing. You know, it's like he just sets off on these crazy trips on his own,
yeah.
and he's stuck in these countries because his handlebar's broken, and he's
Yes,
looking
I
for a
saw that. Yeah,
welder. And honestly, full respect to him. I'd love to get him on here. I don't know whether he will, but if you are watching
yeah,
Creature, please give us a shout out, and we'll get you
100%,
on.
mate.
I was literally talking to
100%.
him yesterday over Facebook. He's
Well,
nuts.
yeah,
So yeah. So
but
how was the actual Dragon Rally? Because it's notoriously known for it's in Wales. It's cold.
yeah,
It's nothing like the obviously the Elephant Rally, but I think that's the take it's trying to take, isn't it? The UK's equivalent.
yeah. So it's been going. I believe it's 70 plus years now, or something along those lines. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been going a long, long time. And if you look back at pictures of Dragon Rally of the old and that, you'll see like massive snowdrifts and you know these hardy blokes, bikes, you know. But it has changed over the years because things have to change with the times, don't they? But when I went last year, it actually ended up being absolutely glorious sunshine. It was really warm. which was like absolutely bizarre because I geared up for like really cold weather and that, and it was like 15 degrees. But this year was a bit more sort of Dragon of old, as I understand it, because it was colder, it was a bit more miserable and that. But the experience, like I say, it's these people that you meet, it's the experience of it, the ride to the destination and things. But for me, it's not so much about the destination, so it's not so much about the dragon itself, but it's about the ride there and the people that I meet on the way,
Yeah,
like riding with Sam, etc. And and these things, and it's just such a great atmosphere, and it's just a field with a load of tents, a huge mixture of bikes. It's not all about the adventure bikes. It's not all these big BMW GSs or KTM Adventures and things. Those kind of bikes are there, but actually, the Dragon is predominantly smaller capacity bikes, really old classic stuff, sidecar outfits, rat bikes. Just absolutely everything. The span is absolutely
yeah.
phenomenal. It's huge.
So going forward, then, are you more going to be small bikes, big adventures, or are you looking at bigger bikes, or have you got a bigger bike now that you're going to be?
So for me, it's still a bit of a mix because I just love bikes in general, as you know. So I've got my F650 Funduro, which on my BMW, so it's this earlier version of yours,
Mustard,
which
mustard.
custard. That's it, yeah, the yellow peril that he is. Um, so he's got an electrical fault at the minute, but I will get him back on the road because he's predominantly going to become my off-road adventure bike. So like my Trans-Euro trail bike, the thing that I can bash, smash, and thrash type thing. Um, then I've got my Pan America Harley Davidson as well at the minute, which I did a big trip round the Outer Hebrides in November on that. So it's 1,300 miles in 3 days. Um, but that's soon to be gone and being replaced with something else, which, that's a little secret at the minute. And then the C90. But whenever I look at all those bikes in the garage, I always go to the C90. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm always drawn to it. It's easy to whip out the garage. You just kick it and off you go. And it's just hassle-free motoring, isn't it? It
I
just
think
makes
it's
me
I
smile.
think it's a novelty of having a kickstart as well, mate. It's just like,
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was speaking to a chap called Billy Mack. Again, he's another big name within the C90, in the C90 world. Um, and he said, I always take the electric starts off them. Every time I get one, the electric start goes and I just put it back
yeah,
to kickstart. And you're right, it is for me, it's a novelty.
it is a novelty, isn't
It's
it?
yeah,
I'm looking at definitely getting a small bike, whether it's a C90 or I don't know, a Honda Navara or something. I'm gonna get one of
yeah,
them, I think.
yeah. Oh, mate, since joining the small bike world, for me, let's just talk about small bike for a second. So for me, there's two types of small bikes. There's small capacity bikes, such as engine wise, okay, and then there is physically small bikes. So if you look at, like, for example, the CRF, the Honda CRF 250s, the L and the Rally,
Yeah,
so they are what I would class as a small capacity bike. So it's a 250 or less cc bike, but physically
on the bigger
they're
side.
quite, yeah, they're on the bigger side, aren't they? They wouldn't be amiss with like a 450 engine in or something like
Yeah,
that. And then you've got the actual small bikes. You've got things like your Honda Daxas, your C90s, your
your
is
monkeys.
it your monkeys, yeah, your Plaggy or Paggy 50, whatever they call it. But I I never realised until I joined this little group of people just the sheer amount of different weird and wonderful things. I mean, have you ever heard of it? Is it the PSA Aerial or something like that? It's
No,
like a little three-wheeler pedal and pop thing. Have you seen that before?
no, but we're growing up. We used to
Oh,
buy them, right. We'd chip in and we'd go out and buy C90s or pedal and pops just for
yeah,
the feel.
yeah,
And I think most people
yeah,
grow up that are into bikes start off as a kid C90s on backfield,
yeah, definitely,
and we
definitely. I
we had
mean,
pedal and pops and all that. It was
yeah, but
memories.
it's this world that I never knew existed, and I won't lie, like Chinese bikes, for example. I've always been very wary of them, and I've kind of shunned them, thinking, poor quality and blah blah blah. But when you look at the small bike world, the amount of sort of Chinese bikes and other non-big six, non-Japanese manufacturers, if you like, it's amazing. They're all over the place, and people do thousands and thousands of miles on them and absolutely adore them, and
It's the
just
engines though. It's like the bulletproof.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I've got a Lyphon engine in mine now, and it's been absolutely great. It
Yeah,
absolutely vibrates mid knackers off, like, but
yeah.
it's all part of the fun, isn't it?
I feel like I'm abusing bikes when I'm on smaller bikes and you're literally pinned. I was like on
Yeah,
my Himalayan, my 411. It was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
if I was going on a main road, I'd feel like I'm abusing the poor girl. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's just screaming its head off, and it's like, oh, I need to slow down. And that's why
yeah,
I've started doing the back roads because it's more enjoyable.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I even though I've got like, say, for example, my Pan America 1250, um, I don't ride it on the motorways. Just don't see the point. I don't buy a motorcycle to ride on the motorways. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So, what are your plans this year then for future rallies or traveling? Your YouTube channel. Tell me a bit about what you're going to be doing and what you're up to.
yeah. So obviously my YouTube is predominantly bikes and the adventures on bikes. It's for me, it's all about my learning journey and sharing that learning with other people. Um, I'm a massive advocate of mental health, as yourself, and I do bring that into my sort of channel as well now and again. Um, but I have started doing other things like a bit of wild camping as well. So a little bit of hiking, bushcraft, wild camping, that kind of stuff's going to come onto it as well. But predominantly on the bikes, so going on adventures on the bikes, doing little challenges and things
Yeah.
like that.
So you're not
What
coming away
I'm,
from the bikes. The bike's just going to
oh
get you
God,
to the
no,
wild
no,
camping
no,
and
no, no.
be
Yeah,
part of it.
exactly. It's all going to sort of amalgamate into one. But the bikes, so the Teddy project, the Custard project, they're ongoing things that I want to get them ready and set for adventure and whatnot. Then obviously I've got something new in the pipeline with regards to trading in my Pan America and whatnot, which would be it's not the way I wanted to go originally. I don't want to give too much away at the minute, but it's not the direction I was originally going in. But I think it's going to be something completely different, and it's going to be really good. Um, but yeah, so ultimately, my biggest thing with my channel is trying to help other people, and I call
Yeah.
it an idiot on board because I am daft. I don't take myself seriously.
I think that's how
Um,
we originally connected because obviously I'm
yeah,
speaking about and speaking openly about men's mental health insecurities, you know, and using me as an example,
yeah,
and
yeah,
even though it's difficult to talk about them things, and
yeah,
I question whether I should be talking about it because of my insecurities and my self
yeah,
doubt and
yeah,
self worth, I feel like no, I need to do it because there's
yeah,
people out there that are in a similar situation, especially as a
exactly.
middle-aged man when nobody will talk about it. And then when I watched your videos and we had a discussion and you reached out and we had a chat, it was like, oh, this guy's on the same wavelength now. Like you're
Yeah,
more bubbly, you're outgoing than me, but
yeah,
the stories are still the same.
yeah, yeah. They are, and do you know what? It's not been a quick fix with that though. It's taken time. I mean, my YouTube's been running for about 4 years now, or it'll be 4 years in September. But it's taken me about 3 years to find my stride with it. And the biggest thing that I found with that was be yourself. So
Yeah.
I started out trying to sort of emulate different things that I've seen and different stuff, and it just didn't work. I mean, I
Do you
look
know
back
what
at
you
my
can really overthink YouTube,
yeah,
especially
oh
as somebody
massively,
who's new. And I always say like I don't care about subscribers or views.
yeah,
I don't really
yeah,
like to ask for subscribers.
yeah,
But let's be totally honest. We all want views because we want people to watch what we're saying and stuff like that. So views
yeah,
do matter, even though we say it doesn't. It
yeah.
does matter. It matters
It,
more than subscribers because when I look at my stats, I've got more people watching my video than are subscribed.
yeah,
So if you're
yeah,
watching it and taking it somewhat away from it, that's what really
exactly.
matters to me.
Exactly. And I totally agree. I mean, I never beg for, I mean, I sometimes at the end of the video say, if you fancy it, like,
Yeah,
share, comment, subscribe, etc. Um, but that's down for people. If they like what they see and they can relate to it, which is what I'm looking for, is people who can relate, then yeah, crack on.
yeah,
Um, but I'm not bothered about numbers and that. I'm not actually my end goal with my YouTube is not I'm not bothered about monetizing it. Um, but what I've said is if it does ever end up getting monetized, then I will put that money back into the biking community. And what I
yeah,
mean by that is I will use that to help other people that may be less advantaged than myself or us, or that maybe sort of like less abled in some way or something like that,
yeah,
to be able to experience their own adventure. Now, whether that is just go on a single night camping trip, or go on a bushcraft day, or go track day, or whatever, anything that I can help somebody experience. That's where I want to go in my channel. And that's what my channel is all going to be about. And as much as I don't like asking for subscribers and things, without hitting those certain subscriber marks, you're not able to do that.
yeah.
Um,
And
and,
people look at motor vlogs and think it's easy, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not easy. Like if you've got a family and you work full time, and you've got to go out every week to make a video,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to do that. And then there's
Yeah.
the editing process. And then before
Yes.
you know it, the week rolls into the next, and then you need another one.
Yeah.
And it's not about the money. Like, I'd be riding anyway, but would
Yeah.
I be riding as much as I am because I've got a moto vlog? Probably not. Because
Yeah.
I force myself to go out sometimes because I have to go out and make a video because I've
Yeah.
committed to myself. And the minute that I break a commitment to myself is the minute that my channel starts going downhill, and I probably won't do a
Yeah.
video. And then that week will turn into a month, and then 2 months. And it's like, that's not where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
And
like the other thing that takes over my thought process is they always say thumbnails, titles are important.
yeah. Yes.
I obsess over thumbnails. And
Yeah.
people that watch my videos might see my thumbnail change twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
Because I just need to stop doing it. Like, once it's out there,
Just
just
leave it.
forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
It's
that's just because I'm a new YouTuber and I'm learning and looking for edges and stuff.
it's a weird one because I don't like let's call it lying. Yeah. So expanding the truth a little bit, should I say? In my titles, I don't like sort of like this whole clickbait world. I like my title to say exactly what the video is. Okay. And
But
I've always done that.
is that hindering you though?
It does. No, it does. So, for example, my Outer Hebrides trip, everybody that's watched that, it's a three-part, 3 20-minute videos. Everybody that's watched it said it's brilliant. They really liked it. I'm a mad idiot for doing it in November. Um, but it literally, the trip just says, motorcycle adventure out Hebrides or solo motorcycle adventure out Hebrides or something like that,
Yeah.
because it tells you what it is. But I was speaking to somebody and they were saying, no, your titles have got to draw people in. They almost have got to be a little bit clickbaity because
Yeah.
this whole YouTube algorithm type thing, like it won't sort of ping it over something else, if that makes sense. And it's the same with your thumbnails and that. And I personally, I feel kind of like a fraud doing that.
Oh, it's an awful feeling, but I feel like
Yeah,
if you don't do it, you're gonna get left behind.
exactly.
And
And
nobody's gonna discover you, nobody's gonna want to watch your
no,
videos. And
no,
I do titles, and it's like, oh man, why are you doing that title?
yeah,
You know,
exactly,
it's
exactly.
yes, it touches on the video, but it's close
Yeah,
to being clickbait.
yeah, exactly. And
And it's like
I don't
staying
like
true
it,
to
but
yourself and
yeah,
not doing it
yeah,
and not getting no subscribers, views, whatever it
yeah,
may be.
yeah.
Because like we just
And
discussed there, the views are important because you put in the effort into make the video. You need people to watch it because
exactly,
you've got a message, you've got something to say.
exactly.
You know, so
And
it's
this
like a
is
thin line between it, isn't it?
it is. You don't you're dead right, but and this is that thing. So like we said, both of us want people to see our videos because we are advocates for mental health. We are trying to help people break that stigma and get people talking. That's the whole idea of doing what we're doing now, and moving forward with this podcast idea and what have you. Um,
Oh, mate, you've just told them all. They're all going to log off now.
ah,
Carry on.
um, but yeah, you can edit it, it's fine. Um,
No editing on here.
oh, what? But you know what I mean. So like you can, you need people to see it to get that message out and start breaking that stigma and those barriers and get people chatting. And I mean, I love comments. I love seeing the comments come through. I respond to every single comment, good or bad. At the end of the day, it's people's opinion, and if your opinion differs to mine, then fine. But that's the whole point of having this community and this discussion
That's what
and
matters
why I
to
do
me.
the
That's
videos.
what really matters to me is the comment section. When I
Yeah,
do a video and I see comments that people are saying they can relate to me, you've really helped me out. That's what matters
yeah,
to me more than anything.
yeah,
And that's
exactly.
why I'm doing it because I want to be genuine. I want
Yeah,
people to relate. I want people to listen to me and think, "Oh my God, I feel like that."
exactly. Yeah,
So
and they do. And do you know what, mate? I've watched every single one of your videos you've put out so far, and there's only a limited few individuals that I can sit there and watch the whole video. And I'm not just saying this because
yeah,
we've got this whole thing going and whatnot. Genuinely, I can sit there and listen to your videos, watch the whole thing because exactly that. What you say is relatable. It's meaningful. There's a point to it. And also your accent, man. I'm jealous of your broad Yorkshire accent as
mate.
well.
You know what though? I get comments where people say, "Oh, I can't understand you. I need translation
Really?
and stuff." But
Yeah. Well. I mean, I'm originally North East Derbyshire. I'm originally Chesterfield, so I'm not that far away. And when I get going, my thick accent comes back out as well. To be fair, but
Yeah. So then let's get off the YouTube thing then. So
yeah.
what are you hoping to achieve? I know I said let's get off the YouTube things, but what are you hoping to achieve?
Well,
So
like
what
I
I mean
say,
by
it's
that is I want to know like your end goal.
my
What
end
is your
goal.
end
Yeah,
goal?
yeah. So I've said it all along, and I sort of say it again. My end goal is ultimately is to just to be able to help other people. I mean, so in my normal day-to-day job, I'm a firefighter, as you know, and I do that job to help people. It's not about the money. It's not about the status or anything like that. It's all about helping people ultimately. And if I can be there on somebody's worst day of their life or whatever, and I can do something to make it better, that's why I do that job role. And ultimately, with the YouTube channel and my biking journey, um, that's exactly the same thing. I want to be there to help people. I want to be there to make people see that, you know, in some cases there is light at the end of the tunnel, or it is okay to talk about these things, and just have a laugh and a smile, and it's all that kind of thing, really, if that
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
that's what originally drew me to you. I know you reached out and we had a chat, but when I went
Yeah,
to watch your videos,
yeah,
it was mainly your personality, and I was thinking he's talking about the similar kind of stuff as me, but he's
yeah,
more outgoing, he's more forward and bubbly than me,
yeah,
which is something that I've got to surround myself around them kind of people
yeah,
because
yeah,
to bring the best out in me as well, because
yeah,
that person is there, and the way I am is if you're in my bubble and we
yeah,
went to a party,
yeah,
mate, you're not even there. It's my party. Like I'm living the dream. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
if I don't know you, that's where I'm more the insecurities creep in, and that's
yeah, got you, got
that's
you,
why I connected to you really on that personal level.
yeah.
So let's just move on. We've talked about the mental health, the YouTube. So the reason that you reached out for me, do you want to tell me a little bit about the reason that you reached out to me?
Am I actually allowed to say it now?
Let's go.
Yeah, so the reason why I reached out to you was obviously I saw your video, um, and then on your video you put out a post, didn't you, saying that I've been thinking about doing a bit of a podcast surrounding mental health, motorcycles, how bikes help people, and things like that. And after watching your video and seeing that post, I was like, do you know what? I've been thinking about doing something very similar for a long, long time, but I just never knew how to go about it, or just didn't feel like I had the time to do it on my own or anything like that. I mean, I actually did a proper video on sort of biking and mental health and things about 2 years ago, where I spoke to some of my friends about issues that they'd been facing and things like that. But I didn't feel like I'd done it justice, so that's why I never put it out there. I wasn't happy with it. I didn't feel like I'd done my friend justice. I didn't think I'd done sort of the world of mental health, and the individuals that we're speaking to and things justice. That's why I didn't put it out there. And then when I saw what you posted and your video and what you were talking about, I was like, yes, this guy gets it. This guy knows. It's almost like you're in my brain and you're thinking about um,
Yeah.
about the same sort of things. I was like, oh, I've got to reach out, and I did. Unfortunately, you answered, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a good thing that you did because there's one thing doing a podcast on your own and then doing it with somebody who can relate to you and have a
Yeah,
back and forth with,
yeah,
and then having a three-way conversation with a guest is going to bring the best out in the podcast, I believe.
100%, definitely.
Um,
Yeah,
but what happened was, and I probably did it a little bit too soon. So when I put that out there, I
hmm,
had a lady that contacted me, and I sent you the video and the clip,
yes, you did. Yeah, yeah,
and I wasn't expecting that.
yeah,
And it made me question whether I did the right thing, like in
yeah,
terms of how deep do we want to go with this?
yeah, definitely.
Because to get that message, the email from the lady explaining, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a clip. We'll have a
Yep.
listen to it and then we'll discuss it. Because even when I was reading this out for the first audio podcast, I was nearly in tears, like reading it. Like I literally had to
Yeah,
do maybe 3, 4 takes because it was so raw, so real.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know whether I wanted that to be the first episode, if you know what
Mate,
I mean.
I'm actually thinking, I know you're about to play the clip, but I'm actually thinking about it in my head now, and remembering the sort of conversation that we had about it and the actual clip. And yeah, no, you're right. And it is hard to listen to. But there's a reason for it, and
But that's
it's
that's the reality, isn't it?
exactly,
That's
and it is
exactly
good to
how it
get it
is out
out
there.
there. Yeah.
You know, so what I'll do, I'll play the clip, we'll have a little listen, and yeah, here we go. Mr Throttle Therapy, hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Throttle Therapy is a space created for bikers and motor vloggers and advocates of mental health within the biking community. As always, I say it all the time, mental health is a big thing in motorcycling. Our helmets listen to more of our problems than our actually families probably do. So as I said, this podcast is all about real conversations, personal stories, and how riding motorcycles plays a crucial role in mental health and well-being. Whether you ride for adventure, skate, or just a pure joy of being on two wheels, this is a place where we can all connect without judgment. So like I said, no matter where you are in the world, I hope I find you all well. The biking community is a global family, and this podcast is bringing us all together, no matter of the distance. When I decided to start this podcast, I didn't expect to go deep on the first episode, but the reality is, I asked for this. So that's obviously the introduction to the video that I'm talking about, where the lady contacted me.
Yeah.
Oh, your dog's going off wild.
Yeah, sorry.
Postman.
see another dog out the window.
So yeah, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to play her clip now, but I will put it at the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
Or this discussion. Is it a podcast? I don't even know what it is, but yeah, I'm going to put it at the end.
It's something. We're figuring it out, aren't we?
It's summer in it. We're just going to go with it. But yeah, I'm going to put it at the end. But what I want people to take away from it is, if you've got something that you would like to talk about and discuss with me and Chris, then send me an email. I will put the scrolling bar on the bottom now, so my email is there. And reach out to me. So this is my email for Backroad Tourist, just gets on this channel, but there is also one from Throttle Therapy. Podcast at gmail.com. So you can either email that or the Backroad Tourist one, and we'll get you on and we'll have a chat. If you want to, just send an email. We can read it out. It's fine. You don't have to come on. What I will be doing in the future as well is maybe setting up a mobile that won't be answered, but you can leave a message and I can put the audio on there.
Yeah.
And basically, there's just multiple ways to reach out if you've got mental health and you're a biker and you want to discuss anything, or maybe you don't want to discuss it but just share it. That's more than welcome as well.
Yeah.
So how do you see this podcast going, Chris, and what your expectations of it are?
So it's all very new, isn't it? It's new for me and you. It's a new, I want to say like a new concept, because when we both had a look, there wasn't really a lot out there, was there?
No, not at all.
Specific for this. So I'm hoping that people are going to relate. We're going to get stories in. We're going to get people on, inspiring stories. Talking about experiences where motorcycles have helped them out, or still does. It's hard to quantify, isn't it? It's hard to see, but it certainly does. And I'm hoping that it will just be a really, really positive thing in people's lives where they can listen to it, they can relate to it. It's going to open these discussions, and it's just going to help bring motorcycling and mental health in particular, or specifically, should I say, to the forefront of people's minds, and break those stigmas and barriers. And
I mean, you literally, Chris, you've got to read my comment section to see that I'm not alone in this. You're not alone in this.
Yeah,
People are
100%.
talking about it, but will people come and share it? I think that's the barrier.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've had
ways to do it. Like I said, you can leave a voicemail, you can send me an email.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways of talking, and we want to be that platform where if you've got a struggle in life and you're a motorcyclist or whatever, you come and reach out to us because we'll listen.
Yeah.
And
But
I
it's
think
not
what we're
just
going to do as well in the future, sorry, Chris, but I think what we'll
that's
do
all
in the
right.
future as well is be boots on the ground. So we'll be there
100%.
and we'll be at some shows and we'll record chats and conversations with people in real time.
Yeah, definitely.
So
And I
yeah,
think it's
sorry.
so it's all right. I was just gonna say, just remember that as well. It's not just for, and this is talking to everybody in the audience as such. It's not just for the motorcyclist. It's for are you a sibling? Are you a partner? Are you a friend of somebody that perhaps used motorcycling as a way of dealing with their demons and their therapy as such, their throttle therapy, and then sadly they're no longer with us anymore for one reason or another, or they've really struggled and can't talk about it themselves, and you want to come and talk about it and share your experience of how it's affected you living with them or dealing with them and looking after them. It's all that kind of thing. It's all related, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what Jan did. The lady that
Yeah,
reached out to me, she
yeah,
wasn't the person with the mental health, but
yeah,
her son had mental health and was using
yeah,
motorcycles to escape his mental health.
yeah,
So without going into too much detail, because I am going to put that podcast onto the back of this so people can just have a teaser of what's to come. Like I said, it is a deep and emotional email she sent me, and I did my best to read it out, but it was difficult.
yeah,
So yeah, I think what we're going to do, Chris, is we're going to leave this here today, mate, because I need a bit of room just to put that video on there and
yeah,
let
definitely,
people
mate.
see what's coming. Is that all right with
Cool,
you,
I've got my
buddy?
dog attacking me now.
Welcome to the
Out of the way,
podcast,
dog.
Doggy. So yeah, guys, I like to say I hope you're all well. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on and having this chat. There's going to be a lot more to come in the future, but I
100%,
thought
mate.
we'd just get on and just have a chat with the guys and show them what's coming.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
So thank you again, Chris. Right, guys, peace out wherever you are in the world. I hope you're all well. If you can do, always help somebody out. But for me and Chris, we're out of here. So without further ado, let's kick off this show with Jan's story and her son David. Hi, I recently watched your YouTube video about bikers and their mental health, and I couldn't stop myself from reaching out to you. In 2023, I lost my only son David to depression, every mother's worst nightmare. We always had those mother and son conversations about the dangers of motorbikes, but all I remember is David saying, "Oh Mum, you don't understand. Without my bike I'd be dead anyway." I never truly understood what he meant. David often told me that riding was his personal therapy, but as a mother I couldn't grasp it. I knew he suffered in silence, keeping his demons to himself, but sometimes he would just disappear for days with nothing but his bike and tent, and I never questioned it. On April 17, 2023, David was signed off work with depression. He told me he struggled to fit into society and was trying hard to be part of something meaningful. That day, he called me whilst I was at work, telling me he was going for a ride to clear his head. I remember telling him not to go, to stay home, but he insisted. He needed to go. That evening, he didn't return home. My worst fears consumed me. Had he fallen off? Was he okay? Then part of me thought, he's gone camping again. I checked the garage, his tent was still there. That wasn't like him. But still, I tried to push the fear away and went to bed. Then, in the middle of the night, a knock at the door. 2 police officers stood before me. I knew in that instant David were gone. It wasn't an accident. It was suicide. The bike that had once been David's release couldn't carry him through the pain any longer. Now I live with the shame of not seeing it coming. I worried about the dangers of riding, but I never realised that it was the riding that was keeping him alive. So why am I telling you this? Because I want others to know that bikes can mask reality. I didn't see the pain and suffering my son was carrying, or the relief that his bike provided. Now, I understand motorcycles in a way I never did before, and I want people to check on the riders in their lives. If someone finds comfort in the open road, take a moment to ask them, how are they really doing? Sometimes the strongest of people carry the heaviest burdens. And to all the parents, siblings and friends, don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations. You never know whose life you might save. Thank you, Jan. Oh man. I've got goosebumps, tingles, just reading that. And to you, Jan. Much love to you and strength. Unfortunately, we don't see everything that's coming in life. And you as a mother can't hold and carry that burden. You wasn't to know. And to all the bikers out there suffering, do speak about it. And just like David, we sometimes jump on that saddle and we ride off into the sunset. And it does clear our heads, and not many people understand why. The people around us, they'll never question it, because it makes us smile and it makes us happy. Yes, they might have their doubts, they might have their fears. But in the back of our heads and back of their heads, everything will be okay. But depression is real, and not everything will be okay unless you get help. So to everybody listening to this, riders or non-riders, and if you, like David, is suffering depression and seeking comfort in places far, far away from reality of life, it's time to talk. And lastly, Jan, my message to you, love, stay strong. David will be watching over you somewhere, I'm sure of that. Take care. And to all the bikers, ride safe.